Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to what will be the last of our Fallout 5 discussions. Thank you so much for all the support on the series thus far, and in today's episode we're going to talk about armor and loot. Should be good, let's do it. So before we get started on the discussion today, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the community for supporting this series thus far. It's been an absolute pleasure doing these episodes and bringing it to you, and I love the comments that you've been making. Although this will be the last episode that we're making on various parts of the game, I will of course be collating all your comments and all your thoughts and all the kind of ideas that we've come up with through the live streams, and trying to come up with a model for Fallout 5. Now, that may well take a little bit of time, so that might take a couple of weeks just to put together, but hopefully once we do that, we'll see what the community actually really wants in the next Fallout game, and I'm really excited to kind of go through that process and bring that to you. And we may do that live on a live stream, I may do it on a recorded video. I haven't really decided yet, but yeah, some fantastic ideas that we've got, really creative ideas, and it's funny because we've gone in completely different directions to where I thought the discussion would go, and I love that. So thank you so much for your creativity. And yeah, let's get on to talking about armor today to start with. And specifically, I want to talk about power armor to start with, and then we'll see where we go with the discussion. When you think of Fallout, one of the iconic images that will come to your mind is a picture of a power armor suit or a power armor helmet. It has been in the game for a very long time, and it's kind of a staple and what you expect. And who doesn't love clunking around the wasteland in a brand new power suit, power armor? Fantastic fun. It gives you a lot of protection, a lot of buffs against your enemies, and it's just, to be frank, quite honestly a lot of fun. And it's fair to say in Fallout 4 they upped their game with the old power armor stakes. It also almost became a mini game, if you like, where you went into the Commonwealth, and as you were exploring you would just come across power armor. And the devs very smartly didn't give you the whole set at once. They would give you maybe a frame and an arm and a helmet or something, and you'd have to seek out the rest. Now, we got a whole lot of different power armor sets in Fallout 4. We got the T45, 51, 60, and of course the Ultimate X01 power armor suits. And then on top of that we got some variants like the Raider power armor. There was also the Overboss from Nuka World. There was a Tesla set that you could pick up. So there was lots and lots of stuff to pick up. And then on top of that you got some customization and paint schemes that you could overlay on top of them. So it became a mini game to just get out there and find this stuff. And I must say, I really enjoyed the exploration of finally getting my T51 set of power armor, all complete, or 45 or whatever it may be. And yeah, it gave you a real sense of achievement, because this stuff wasn't easy to get at times. There was kind of advanced locks and advanced terminals and all kinds of stuff that you had to do to get the best power armor in the game, being the X01. In fact, I think the Overboss is probably a little bit more overpowered than the X01, but that's an aside. So, after you've played the game for a while though, unfortunately you tend to get a little bit of an accumulation of power armor, and yeah, you could fill a couple of warehouses full of the stuff, and then it just kind of sits there and doesn't do much. So I want to kind of talk today about maybe what we should do with power armor, and what 76 did with power armor, and maybe that's the model we go forward with Fallout 5. So in Fallout 4, of course, you went out, you explored, you found your power armor. Say you got a T45, you upgraded that T45 to the wazoo, and then again, as you're questing, as you're exploring, you might find a T60 or something, and then you progressively moved up to harder and harder areas, and obviously your character is growing, and you're able to acquire the XO1 power armor. And so the other sets really just became obsolete if you were looking at out-and-out protection that maybe an XO1 gave you over a T45. And so, you know, as I said in the intro to this section, I could have filled out a warehouse with all the power armor that I actually have, and it just sits there and it collects dust. And as you can see by some of the footage that I'm showing, I actually made it into a feature for my player home, but pretty much I don't use the majority of this power armor ever after I've collected it. And so there's got to be a better way of doing this, with making power armor useful and meaningful and not just a collectible that you go out and grab. And this is where I think the Fallout 76 model is very interesting and might be the way to go with Fallout 5, because obviously Fallout 76 being an online game, the amount of assets you could store straight away is limited. And that's mainly because of server capacity and the fact that you can imagine if I had 20 power armor suits and all the players in my map have 20 power armor suits, the amount of capacity that you're going to need to render all that. So they limited you to basically one or two sets, because the power armor chassis, that wasn't easy to find in 76. There were a limited amount of chassis that you could find, and if somebody got in there before you, then you had to wait or go to another location. So I think that was a good way of doing it, a good way of approaching it. And yeah, you can take your power armor with you in 76. That's the other good thing. You can just, it's in your inventory. It doesn't really weigh that much. You drop it out, hop in it, and off you go. The other thing with 76 is that, yeah, you get all the pieces or power armor sets, but you're not actually having to have separate chassis for every set. You can either store it in the stash or you can rebuild it when you need it. And yeah, really you only need one power armor suit to play the game. And if you get a weak power armor suit early in the game, it probably does you, and then as you progress through the game, you get stronger and stronger power armor, and so the one you found at the start of the game becomes obsolete, and so you don't need it anymore. You can scrap it, you can get rid of it, which is kind of counter to what Fallout 4 was, and it took me a while to get my head around it. But essentially, you as a player only really need one power armor suit. So I think for Fallout 5, the way that the power armor is handled in 76 is probably a better model. Even though that was designed for an online environment, I think it lends itself to a new Fallout, so that you're not accumulating all this stuff. You can if you like, but there'll be limited power armor chassis to find around the map, and so they're very valuable. Or, you know, they're available, at least the chassis is available in the shops. I'm not sure which, or maybe you find a blueprint for it. I'd love to hear how you think we should do that. And then it's a case of you have to go to several locations to get the full set of armor, like it has been in Fallout 4 and 76. Or, you know, you can do a quest for something like you did in the Atom Cats in Fallout 4, and they give you the power armor set, or, you know, you get paint schemes for a base power armor. There's a whole lot of ways you can approach this, but I think being able to have your power armor in your inventory and drop it out when you need it and then store it away when you don't, I think that's a great advance, and I think I'd love to do that, rather than what I used to do with Fallout 4 is I'd have to go back to my base, pick up my power armor, get back into the quest, etc. It was a little bit clunky. So let me know down in the comments what your feelings are about how we should approach power armor for Fallout 5 and whether the 76 model makes sense. So here's the thing with the current Fallouts. we're able to go around and as we're questing and as we tackle enemies, we're able to loot them and take their clothes. We're able to buy armor and clothes from shops. We can get armor and clothes from all over the place. We come back, we can repair that armor. We can scrap that armor, but why can't we build our own? Why can't we take sets of armor and take bits off it that we like and build our own configuration? And it's something that is obvious, but it's not being done, and I'd like to see that in Fallout 5. Maybe you could find recipes or blueprints for certain components of armor, and you can kind of put your own armor together with the buffs that you like. You can see with the legendary armor, they offer a whole lot of different buffs on them. And so, you know, there might be recipes or blueprints that you go and you find as you're running around the map. You pick them up and you bring them back, and then it allows you to start to customize your own armor. You can rename it to what you like. All that good stuff. I think it makes sense, and it would be kind of interesting. And also, I'd like to see kind of color schemes for armor. Why do we always have to have that kind of bland looking armor? Why can't we have nice color schemes like we have with the power armor, and be able to really customize it into even bright colors? And why not? I mean, why not? Why wouldn't they give us that? I think it would be real fun and something a little bit different for the game. But one very important element I want to see in Fallout 5 is the fact that you have all these kind of undergarments that you can wear, like leathers and coats and stuff. I want to be able to see the 76 model where you can stack your armor on top of those. And you don't, when you put certain armor on certain clothes, you end up in your underwear with only armor on. I want to see that change. I want you to be able to stack armor on top of clothes, and so that you get the look that you want specifically, and so you don't have to constantly fight the game with figuring out which armor will stack on which piece of clothing, etc., etc. And you get the benefit of the armor on top of your clothing. Now, here's one, and it is a subtle one, but it's one that annoys the absolute heck out of me, is the fact that, can we please be able to see the full description of the armor? And even as you can see, I'm in the stash at the moment, and yeah, trying to figure out what pieces I need, whether it's a right leg, a left leg, a right arm, left arm. Can I see the full description, please, so I can work that stuff out? Or have a wee model there to show me what I should have. And even when you do have the model, figuring out which is the right leg and the left leg, and it's just a pain, and it shouldn't be such a drama to try and figure out what pieces of armor that you need to equip on your character straight away. It's just it's one of those little frustrations that I have about the game, where you just can't see things properly unless you go into the kind of display element of the game. And you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to look down your list in the menu and say, oh yeah, that's a right leg, that's a left leg. You look at the little character model, you see the piece that's missing, and you match it up, and off you go, and you spend minimal time trying to figure this stuff out. It might just be me, but I don't think so. They just need to do a little bit better job of fixing that up, so we don't get so frustrated. That would be good, wouldn't it? So the last thing I want to talk about as far as armor goes is whether you think we should bring back factional armor, similar to what we had in New Vegas. It would lend something to the playstyle where you could actually dress in a faction's armor, and it would give you some benefits from sneaking around the camps or going into a particular area where that faction is strong. And you might not get attacked as much, or you know, you may be able to have more of a stealth playstyle. And there's areas that you could access that if you had a normal set of armor on, that you couldn't. That wouldn't be possible at all. But also, there's got to be a downside to it. So if you put another faction's armor on, then your reputation or the karma system or whatever they have gives you a slight negative for the period of time that you have it on. But if you just need to get something done in a, say, a raider strong area and you wear a specific set of armor to be able to do that, then yeah, it makes life a little easier. Of course, you don't have to do it. You don't have to put the faction armor on. You can keep what you've got on, and it just doing the quest is just that a little bit more difficult. But I think it would put another interesting twist to the game, and something that I think I would really like to explore and see what kind of experience the game would give me if I was switching back and forward in certain circumstances with different armor sets. It would actually give the armor a purpose for being there, rather than something that you just pick up and you really will never use. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you do know that I'm a bit partial to loot. I love my loot, especially partial to a desk fan and various other items. And I think for probably 99% of the time, Bethesda have got the loot bang on in this game. It is a little frustrating, I must admit, to work on a master lock or a really hard terminal only to get some really crappy loot, and I'd like to see that change, but we keep doing it because there's always the hope that we're going to get some good loot at the end of the experience for actually cracking harder areas to get into. But I think that needs to be balanced. Joking aside, that needs to be balanced. If we're going to take a lot of time to crack a much harder lock or a much harder puzzle on the terminal, then we should be rewarded a lot more than we currently are. But that is just me, because I'm a habitual looter and I do love a little bit of loot. Now, as far as loot having purpose in the game, I think it could be improved a little. I think Fallout 76 certainly improved the reason for certain elements or resources being in the game, and where to find them and how to loot them. They did it a little bit better than Fallout 4, and I'd like to see that continue in Fallout 5. We also spoke about the weapons last week and how finding attachments for weapons in the environment would be interesting. I also think the return of recipes and blueprints in the map are a good thing, and that needs to continue. I think it was a real positive in 76, and I'd like to see that included in Fallout 5 if possible. It made life a lot more interesting, and again, I just want loot to have much more of a purpose in the game, rather than just something you pick up and you've got no idea why you're picking it up. And I like the tagging system in Fallout 4 from that, where you could actually identified resources that you needed to do a certain task or upgrade a certain gun or upgrade certain armor, and you could flag that particular resource, and as you're hunting through the myriad of places around the map, as soon as you come across that resource or that type of loot, it has a little kind of a magnifying glass around it, so that you know straight away, or it's a different color, so you know straight away that you need to pick that up. I think that would be a real positive. So with that, guys, we have come to the end of the series pretty much. And I thank you again so much for contributing as much as you have as a community to this whole discussion. It has been huge amounts of fun for me personally, and yeah, it's probably one of my favourite series that I've done on the channel, which is a big call because we've done a lot, but it's always great to have a discussion with people that are passionate about Fallout. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, a like rating is always appreciated. Thank you again, and we'll catch you next time on Gaming for XP. I'll see ya.